Chapter 28, Section 1, Interactive Reader, pages 431 through 436. 19 points. Minor bodies of the solar system. Earth's moon. Key ideas. As you read this section, keep these questions in mind. What are 4 kinds of lunar surface features? What are the 3 layers of the moon? How did the moon form? Page 431. Gravity on the moon's surface is 1/6 the gravity on Earth's surface. What would a person who weighs 690 newtons on Earth weigh on the moon? Why are temperatures on the moon less stable than those on Earth? What is a satellite? Normally, we think of Earth's moon as the only moon. In fact, highlight, Earth's moon is one of many in our solar system. Continue highlighting. A moon is a natural object or body that orbits a larger object. Continue highlighting. Moons are a type of satellite. Continue highlighting. A satellite is any natural or artificial object that orbits another object. Humans have sent many artificial satellites into orbit around Earth. Highlight. These satellites include weather satellites and space telescopes such as the Hubble Space Telescope. Earth's natural satellite. Highlight. The moon is the only body in the solar system other than Earth that humans have walked on. The United States sent, highlight, 6 spacecraft to the moon as part of the Apollo space program. Continue highlighting. The moon has much less mass than the Earth has. Continue highlighting. Thus, the gravity at the moon's surface is much weaker than the gravity at Earth's surface. Because the moon's gravity is so low, astronauts found that bouncing on the moon was actually easier than walking. Highlight, the gravity at the moon's surface is not even strong enough to hold gases near the surface. Continue highlighting. Without gases near the surface, the moon has little atmosphere. Continue highlighting. Because the moon has no gases to absorb and transport thermal energy, temperatures are less stable than those on Earth. Continue highlighting. Surface temperatures on the moon vary from 134 degrees Celsius during the day to negative 170 degrees Celsius at night. Astronauts move more easily on the moon by bouncing or by riding in vehicles such as this lunar roving vehicle. Gravity on the moon's surface is 1/6 the gravity on Earth's surface. What would a person who weighs 690 newtons on Earth weigh on the moon? Since that person would weigh 690 newtons, which is a measurement of weight, what you would do is you would multiply 690 newtons times 1/6, as seen in the formula below. 690 newtons times 1/6, which would equal 690 divided by 6, which would leave you with 115 newtons. Your answer to the question, using the formula given, would be 115 newtons for number 1. Why are temperatures on the moon less stable than those on Earth? Your answer should be because the moon has no atmosphere. Because the moon has no atmosphere to absorb and transfer thermal energy. To absorb and transfer thermal energy. Again, because the moon has no atmosphere to absorb and transfer thermal energy. Page 432. In your own words, describe the Maria. Complete the table to describe the moon's features. What caused the formation of regoliths? What are the features of the moon's surface? Highlight. Luna is the Latin word for moon. Continue highlighting. Any feature of the moon is referred to as lunar. The moon's surface has many landforms or lunar features. Some of these features are, highlight, highlands, maria, craters, rills, and ridges. Highlands and maria. Highlight. Most people can see the light and dark patches on the moon. Continue highlighting. The light areas are rough highlands. The rocks in these areas are called anorthosites. Highlight. The dark areas are smooth, flatter regions or plains. Continue highlighting. The rock in these areas is dark, solid, basaltic lava. Continue highlighting. Each dark region is a mare. Plural, maria. Mare means sea in Latin. Galileo gave this name to the dark regions because he thought they looked like Earth's seas. The maria do not contain water. In your own words, describe the maria. Igneous rock that poured onto, igneous rock that poured onto and flattened the surface. And flattened the surface. Igneous rock that poured onto and flattened the surface. Craters, rills, and ridges. The surface of the moon is covered with many craters. Highlight. A crater is a bowl-shaped low area or depression. In some places, highlight, long channels run through the maria. Continue highlighting. These channels are called rills. Some rills are as long as 240 kilometers. The moon's surface also has ridges. Highlight. Ridges are long, narrow areas of rock that rise out of the moon's surface and crosses the maria. Question 4. Complete the table to describe the moon's features. This table is worth 3 points. Highlands already given. Rough, light-colored areas made of anorthosites. Maria, smooth, flat, dark, solid, made from lava. Smooth, flat, dark, solid, made from lava. Craters, bowl-shaped, low area. Bowl-shaped, low area. Rills, already given. Long channels that run through maria. Ridges, long, narrow areas of rock that rise out of the maria. Long, narrow areas of rock that rise out of the maria. Regolith. Because the moon has no atmosphere, to protect it, many meteorites have hit the surface. Highlight that sentence. Highlight, because the moon has no atmosphere to protect it, many meteorites have hit the surface. Over billions of years. Highlight, meteorites crushed much of the rock of the moon's surface into dust and small rock pieces. Continue highlighting. Layers of this dust and rock, called regolith, cover almost the entire lunar surface. The depth of the regolith layers varies from 1 meter to 6 meters. Question 5. What caused the formation of the regolith? Answer. Meteorites crushing much of the rock. Meteorites crushing much of the rock on the moon's surface. On the moon's surface to dust. To dust. Meteorites crushing much of the rock on the moon's surface to dust. Page 433. How did breccias form on the moon? What are the 3 compositional layers of the moon? Lunar rocks. Highlight, lunar rocks are similar to Earth rocks. Lunar rocks and Earth rocks contain many of the same elements, but the rocks have different amounts of each element. Highlight, lunar rocks are igneous rocks. Highlight, lunar rocks are igneous rocks. Like rocks in Earth's crust. Highlight, lunar rocks are made up mainly of silicon and oxygen. Continue highlighting. Highland rocks are rich in calcium and aluminum. Continue highlighting. Rocks from the Maria are basalts, and they contain large amounts of, highlight, titanium, magnesium, and iron. One type of rock found in both the Maria and the Highlands is, highlight, breccia. Continue highlighting. Lunar breccias contain pieces of other rocks that have been fused together. Continue highlighting. These breccias formed when meteorites struck the moon. Question 6. How did breccias form on the moon? Answer. Pieces of other rock fused together. Pieces of other rock fused together when meteorites struck the moon. Struck the moon. What is the structure of the moon's interior? Recall that scientists use data from seismic waves as an indirect method for studying Earth's interior. Scientists also use indirect methods to determine the moon's interior structure. Apollo astronauts placed seismographs on the moon. Highlight, these seismographs have recorded moonquakes which are similar to earthquakes. From waves made by moonquakes, scientists have learned that the moon's interior has 3 layers, as shown below. Like the Earth, highlight, the moon has 3 compositional layers: crust, mantle, and core. Question 7, what are the 3 compositional layers of the moon? Answer, crust, mantle, core. The moon's crust. Highlight. One side of the moon always faces the Earth. That side of the moon, highlight, is called the near side. Continue highlighting. The side of the moon that faces away from the Earth is called the far side. Continue highlighting. The far side of the moon has mountains and only a few small maria. Continue highlighting. On the near side, the crust is about 60 kilometers thick. Continue highlighting. However, on the far side, the crust is up to 100 kilometers thick. Scientists think the difference in the thickness was caused by the pull of Earth's gravity on the moon as it formed. Page 434. How does the structure of the moon's core differ from the structure of Earth's core? What was the source of rock that formed the moon? The moon's mantle and core. The moon's mantle is beneath its crust. Scientists think, highlight, mantle rock is rich in silica, magnesium, and iron. Continue highlighting. The mantle makes up the largest part of the moon's volume. Scientists think the moon has, highlight, a small iron core. Continue highlighting. Evidence suggests that the core is neither completely solid nor completely liquid. How did Earth's moon form? Apollo astronauts brought moon rocks back to the Earth. Scientists studied these rocks to learn about the moon's history, including how the moon formed. Based on the evidence, most scientists think Earth's moon formed in 3 stages. The figure below describes the first stage, called the giant impact hypothesis. Highlight the giant impact hypothesis. Continue highlighting the first stage of moon formation. Highlight. Scientists think that an object about the size of Mars crashed into or collided with Earth. The collision sent part of Earth's mantle into space. Continue highlighting. The pull of Earth's gravity caused debris from the collision to revolve around Earth. Continue highlighting. The debris eventually collected and formed Earth's moon. Question 8. How does the structure of the moon's core differ from the structure of Earth's? Answer. Earth has a liquid outer core and a solid inner core. Earth has a liquid outer core and a solid inner core. The moon has no liquid core. The moon has no liquid core. Question 9. What was the source of rock that formed the moon? Answer. Earth. Earth. Formation of layers. During the second stage of the moon's formation, the moon's layers developed. Right after the moon formed, highlight, its surface was molten or melted rock. Continue highlighting. Over time, the densest materials moved toward the moon's center. Continue highlighting. These dense materials form the core. Continue highlighting. The least dense materials form the outer layer, the crust. Continue highlighting. The rest of the materials settled between the core and the outer layer to form the moon's mantle. Page 435. Question. What were 3 stages of moon formation? Why are most of the craters on the moon's surface more than 3 billion years old? Why are there fewer visible craters on the near side of the moon? Question 10. What were the 3 stages of moon formation? Meteorite impact, rejoining in orbit, layering and solidification. Again, meteorite impact, rejoining in orbit, layering and solidification. Meteorite impacts. During the 3rd stage of the moon's formation, the moon's outer layer cooled and formed the solid crust. During this period of cooling, debris left over from the formation of the solar system hit the surface. Highlight. The impacts produced craters and regoliths. Continue highlighting. About 3 billion years ago, the number of small objects in the solar system decreased. Continue highlighting. Thus, there were fewer objects to hit the moon's surface. Continue highlighting. Scientists think the moon today looks almost exactly as it did 3 billion years ago. Question 11. Why are most of the craters on the moon's surface more than 3 billion years old? Answer. About 3 billion years ago, the number of objects decreased. So there were fewer to hit the surface. About 3 billion years ago, the number of objects decreased, so there were fewer to hit the surface. How did the Maria form? Highlight. Impacts on the moon's surface formed deep basins in the crust. Continue highlighting. Lava flowed out of the moon's interior through the cracks called fissures. Continue highlighting. The lava filled the basins and formed the Maria. Scientists think rills are lava channels left over from the formation of the Maria. The presence of Maria suggests that eruptions of lava through fissures were once common. However, scientists have found no evidence of large active volcanoes on the moon. Highlight under the image. The near side of the moon has fewer visible craters than the far side. Continue highlighting. Scientists think that lava flows covered many impact sites on the near side with Maria. Scientists do not know how magma formed in the moon's interior. A lot of energy would be needed to produce magma. Highlight. Sometimes scientists think this energy may have come from meteorites hitting the moon's surface. Continue highlighting. Others think energy came from radioactive decay inside the moon. Scientists agree that lava flows stopped about 3.1 1 billion years ago when the moon's interior cooled completely. Question 12. Why are there fewer visible craters on the near side of the moon? Answer: lava flows covered many of the impact sites. Page 436. How did the lunar maria form? Describe two differences between the near side of the moon and the far side of the moon. Suppose the number of small objects in the solar system had not decreased about 3 billion years ago. How might the moon's surface look different today? Explain your answer. Identify two features of the moon and describe how each formed. The composition of the moon and the composition of Earth's mantle are similar. How does this information provide evidence for the giant impact hypothesis? Question 1. Answer can be found on page 432. Maria may have formed from lava flows. Maria may have formed from lava flows. Question 2. Answer can be found on page 433. The far side has mountains. The far side has mountains and only a few maria. And only a few maria. The near side has thinner crust. The near side has thinner crust. Question number 3. Answer can be found on page 435. There would be more craters and thicker regolith. There would be more craters and thicker regolith because there would be more objects to strike the moon. Because there would be more objects to strike the moon. There would be more craters and thicker regolith because there would be more objects to strike the moon. Question number 4. Answer can be found on page 432. Maria from lava flows. Maria from lava flows. Regolith from meteorite impacts. Regolith from meteorite impacts. Question number 5. Answer can be found on page 434. The rock from the mantle, was probably blasted into space, to form the moon. the rock from the mantle was probably blasted into space to form the moon.